Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So the big story of the day, of the weekend, is the $118 billion border deal that, from what I understand, sends more money to Ukraine and Israel than it does to the United States southern border. Has Republicans at war over the $118 billion border deal. Mitch McConnell faces fury over new law that would shut down border if crossings reach 5,000 a day and ends catch and release, as GOP colleagues say it's even worse than expected. So House Speaker Mike Johnson has joined other Republicans who have already deemed the bipartisan Senate border deal dead on arrival and dubbed the proposal worse than expected. Chief negotiators for the border security package, Senators James Lankford, Republican, Kristen Sinema, an independent, and Chris Murphy, a Democrat, unveiled the text of the sprawling deal on Sunday. But Republican infighting is likely to tank the compromise as Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer plans to bring the first procedural vote to the floor on Wednesday. And this is something that's scary. We know Republicans will fight with each other while Democrats all get in line to vote with each other. And so if Republicans decide they want to outplay the game, they're going to lose, which would be a tragedy for American security. They would be letting every single one of us down. And if these people let this go through, I would hope that they either get censured by their party or simply just replaced via the election here in 2024. So let's read. Knives are out for Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who is facing much of the fury from Republicans opposing the bill after he insisted last year that border policy changes be included in the funding package for embattled countries. Senator Mike Lee said Republican Party needs new leadership now. And I agree with that. This feels like an elaborate practical joke, but it's not funny. Not one bit, Lee posted to X, formerly Twitter. I cannot understand how any Republican would think this was a good idea or anything other than an unmitigated disaster. The $118 billion deal, backed by the White House, includes $14 billion in aid to Israel, $60 billion in aid to Ukraine, and also $20 billion for securing the southern border amid a massive increase in illegal migration. It also includes billions for critical partnerships in the Indo-Pacific, including Taiwan. So, of the $118 billion the country is looking to spend, none of that is going towards American working class retirement via Social Security, overlooked once again. And only $20 billion, I say only $20 billion, and only $20 billion is included for securing the southern border, which is America's number one issue. So just reading those numbers right there, I know that this bill is trash. That should be, you want to spend $118 billion? Well, I propose every dollar you want to send overseas, the American government has to match into Americans' Social Security. So you want to send $98 billion overseas and $20 billion on securing the southern border, I'm going to need you to come up with another $98 billion to throw into Social Security. Oh, if you don't have that in your budget, then it looks like you're going to have to cut that number down, right? Maybe spend more on our own southern border, send less to Ukraine. That way you can take care of the American people, right? It's pretty simple for American leaders to want to actually do that, but call me crazy. Republican Senatorial Committee Chairman Senator Steve Daines was the first among the upper chamber's leadership to oppose the bill on Monday, writing, "I can't support a bill that doesn't secure the border, provides taxpayer-funded lawyers to illegal immigrants, and gives billions to radical open borders groups. I'm a no." Instead, Daines said the bill should reinstate pandemic-era Title 42, remain in Mexico policies, and border wall construction. When the bill's text was released on Sunday, President Joe Biden said in a statement, "I strongly support it." Of course he would. But, we all know the guy can't even read. Donald Trump insisted that only a full or a radical left Democrat would actually vote for the horrendous border package. And I can't believe Democrat, voters, just society, would support this either. I mean, you really have to be in the cult and brainwashed to go against your neighbors, go against your own country, go against your own family, put them all at risk to keep the borders open while we send tax dollars over to Ukraine, who's not even a NATO ally. The Americans don't even have any legal obligation to continue this war. And don't give me, we have to stop Russia. Ain't nobody scared of Putin. Putin ain't doing anything. He would have done more by now if he was going to. The fear mongering from the left, from the mainstream media, has got to stop. They had people so scared of Trump before he was ever elected that they hate him still now to their core. And he didn't do any of the things that they feared he was going to do. And now that fear mongering is ramping up again. But continuing, this bill is a great gift to the Democrats and a death wish for the Republican Party and for Americans. Trump posted this to his social media account on Monday. It takes the horrible job the Democrats have done on immigration and the border, absolves them, and puts all squarely on the shoulders of Republicans. Don't be stupid. The former president continued, "We need a separate border and immigration bill. It should not be tied to foreign aid in any way, shape, or form. The Democrats broke immigration and the border. They should fix it." Oh, and I 100% agree with that. House Republicans, oh, you know what? Actually, I take it back. Deep state crap, lifelong Republicans also are responsible for this. It's not just Democrats. The Republicans that play holier than thou and then vote against their fellow Republicans to allow Democrats to get stuff passed, yeah, those people are just as bad. House Republicans are especially not on board for the deal and could sink it when it goes to the lower chamber for reconciliation. But they have to sink it. There's no way that this gets approved on Wednesday. If it does, not good. Any Republican voting for the Senate America Last open border amnesty bill must be paid off by foreign interest and is acting as a foreign agent, Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on X. What an embarrassment. Shame on them. Yes? Senator J.D. Vance posted, "The House is impeaching Mayorkas next week while the Senate will be voting to give him massive discretion to not enforce the border. Why would any Republican vote for this?" But many Republicans don't think this goes far enough. No, it doesn't go far enough. You're allowing people to come in. It's zero. The bill should mandate the border will be shut off at 0 encounters, at 1 encounter. That's already the laws on the books. You know, if people want to apply for our country, if people want to apply for citizenship properly, we have those avenues in place already. I've seen enough, Speaker Johnson wrote on X. This bill is even more than we expected. It won't come close to ending the border catastrophe the president has created. As the lead Democrat negotiator proclaimed, under this negotiation, the border never closes. Johnson added, if this bill reaches the House, it will be dead on arrival. Well, it looks like it's going to reach the House, and y'all better kill it on arrival, right? Meanwhile, Majority House Leader Steve Scalise wrote, "Let me be clear, the Senate border bill will not receive a vote in the House. Here's what the people pushing the deal aren't telling you. It accepts 5,000 illegal immigrants a day and gives automatic work permits to asylum recipients, a magnet for illegal immigration," he added. 5,000 undocumented criminal migrants are going to be allowed to come across our border every day and then get an automatic work permit to go and take your job. Keep the wages for the profession that you have mastered low. They're going to hire the cheapest person to do it, right? You're out here working your butt off in the heat to build somebody else's house or whatever, and you see gas prices, you see grocery store prices, you see the cost of living, you see interest rates going up, and meanwhile, you can't go into your boss and say, hey, I need a raise to keep up with the cost of living, because they're just going to fire you and hire an illegal that has a work permit for the bare minimum. So anybody that works a trade should be completely against this. But let's continue. Donald Trump's eldest son ranted on X against the insanity of the deal in a couple of posts. Mitch McConnell and James Lankford are selling out America for their mass amnesty Ukraine bailout deal, he wrote on Sunday, adding, pass it on. We know that Mitch McConnell is clearly not mentally there after his numerous glitches this fall, true. But to watch him get rolled this way and still be a Republican leadership is truly embarrassing for our party, he said in a Monday post. That's also true. Was there any GOP opposition to this dim dream bill? Donald Trump Jr. questioned. Additionally, several progressives are also expected to oppose the plan, like Senator Bernie Sanders, who said Sunday he is against the package due to the funding for Israel. Pro-immigration and Hispanic lawmakers are taking aim at overhauls made to the immigration policy. Senator Alex Padilla called the bill a new version of Trump-era policies that will cause more chaos at the border. The White House intervened with border negotiations in the Senate, with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas going to Capitol Hill for discussions despite the House launching an impeachment inquiry against him the same time. In December, the U.S. saw the highest number of migrants arrested at the U.S. border with Mexico, as more than 302,000 were apprehended by Customs and Border Protection. That's just the ones that got caught, right? Former President Donald Trump urged Congress to abandon the deal even before the text was released over the weekend. He lambasted the deal in posts on Truth Social over recent weeks, saying the horrific bill is being used by Democrats to put the border disaster onto the shoulders of the Republicans. There is zero chance I will support this horrible open borders betrayal of America, Trump said at a rally last weekend. A lot of the senators, they're trying to blame it on me. I say that's okay. Please blame it on me. I'd rather have no bill than a bad bill. And I agree with that. I'm glad to hear Trump say that, because there's been a couple bills that he's signed that I would have rather had no bill than the bad bill. So maybe he's learned from his mistakes, and that's one way that he'll actually be better in his second term in after he wins this election in 2024. Republican colleagues argue that Democrats are pushing to move too quickly to get something passed during an election year when one of Biden's biggest pitfalls has been dealing with the ongoing southern border crisis. Senator Lee and several other GOP hardliners in the Senate have said a single weekend to review the massive bill doesn't count, and is demanding more time to interview witnesses and examine the text before a vote. If they don't give you enough time to review it, then vote against it. It's as simple as that. How could you vote for a bill that you have not read thoroughly? It makes no sense. And I say, I'll take it a step further. If anybody does vote for a bill that they haven't read thoroughly, they should be replaced. Immediately. If you get caught doing that, you lose your position immediately. Senator Lindsey Graham called it the oldest game in town, bringing the major piece of legislation before a recess or holiday, but hopes Speaker Johnson will give the bill a fair shake if it passes the Senate. Of course Lindsey Graham would. I would figure Lindsey Graham would be one to support giving money to other countries that are at war rather than taking care of Americans, especially the working class. That's one of my biggest concerns right now, is we don't ever put anything into Social Security. We have a bunch of IOUs. Social Security is a mess. Meanwhile, we're importing millions of people every couple months, and those people are going to eventually go on Social Security the way the Democrats want it. So, they better start increasing what they're dumping into Social Security, because all I've heard my entire life is that it's not going to be there for me whenever I retire. Yet I've had to pay for it my whole entire working career. I want it to be there for me. I want it to be there for my friends and family when it's our time to retire. And I'm tired of seeing our American leaders prioritize Ukraine, Israel, and all these other countries over the American working class. We are the backbone of this country. And if you agree with that, you should hit the like button and subscribe, by the way. But let's continue. Johnson announced Saturday that the House separately will bring a clean standalone $17 billion Israel aid bill to the floor next week as Senate prepares to move forward in supplemental packages. The Senate's massive package includes $6 billion to CBP for security enforcement and investigations relating to migration surges along the southern border, and counter some drug activities. But over $40 billion will be allotted to respond to situations in Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. It's getting kind of repetitive. Okay. And for me to wrap this up, I would just say that I hope that people are paying attention to their local representatives, what they're voting for, and that they will actually do something this year in the 2024 election to take care of themselves in that regard. Trump drained the swamp, exposed the swamp monsters, and people still go ahead and vote for him. It's time to replace these old leaders that don't prioritize the American people's best interests. Simple as that. And if you agree with that, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.